What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
Armies, or any K-pop stans. If you put any Korean song or mention any idol, they will be smothered. I will prove this. I won't put any hashtag. I'll just... They will come. They will just come.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
This is an easy one. People who invest in Bitcoin. Have you ever met any of these crazies? All they want to do is like get you to buy Bitcoin. Also, if you want to buy it, check the Coinbase link in my bio.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
Grey's Anatomy fans.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
Y'all ever driven a Mazda Miata before?
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
Face character programs within theme parks. Let me tell you, that's a Kool-Aid that if you drink it, you're going down a long and lonesome road. Okay, they tell you to do things, you do them. Then you become cliquey with all the other face, and then you're like, oh shit, are we in a cult? And you're like, nah, we work out together, we have fun, we have calorie deficits. Do I have body dysmorphia now? Yeah, heck yeah, I do. I am this character because I've worked so hard for it. But then you get told you're not this character. You are not. You're just friends with them, and then you're like, bitch, I went to the gym fucking 4 hours a day for 6 years. My friends aren't jacked. I'm jacked. What do you mean I'm just friends with them? And then you're like, oh shit, I gotta get out of this for my mental health. And then they're like, no, you can't leave. And you're like, what? So then you eat cheeseburgers for every meal for 6 weeks so you gain enough weight that they have to kick you out of it. Whew.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
Probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but liking 21 Pilots seems weirdly culty to me.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
All-star cheerleading.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
People whose entire social lives revolve around being in Southie. I'm not even saying this like it's a bad thing, because it's really not. But the lengths that people will go to. Pay $6 grand a month in rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, one of which bedrooms is a converted broom closet, just to say they live in Southie, is legitimately insane. On top of paying triple your average mortgage and rent, people have to plug their dishwashers into like their sink faucet, windows that open into like a chimney. Would think these apartments would be like the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Not at all. Second, you have to be chosen by the Sorting Hat from Harry Potter to get a parking spot in that neighborhood. It's pointless to even have a car, pretty much. And as far as the nightlife scene goes, drive by any of the big bars in Southie at like 1:30 in the morning. The line is 70 people deep and last calls at 1:45. Southie Sunday thing is 100% a real thing. It's a full send from the moment these bars open to the moment they close. And this isn't a bad thing, I admire the loyalty. But ask any young kid who lives in Southie where they want their ashes spread, they'd be like, Lincoln Basement.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
Book talk. We use so many acronyms like these that nobody would know unless they were a part of book talk.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
Formula One. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. So we're not like a bad cult, but we're one of those like groups that's just really obsessed with 20 people, plus a couple others. Toto. So like, we really do kind of act like a really crazy cult sometimes, and we're super duper duper passionate. And yeah, like we're not a bad cult, but guys, we really do act like a cult sometimes, right? I think we do.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
All right, I'm doing this again, but Louisville, Kentucky edition. Here we go. Any of the private Catholic high schools, Assumption, Trinity, St. X, Sacred Heart, Any of them. People who associate themselves with the volleyball club Kiva. Literally anybody who goes to Cycle Bar. Anybody. People who live in Lake Forest. It makes sense. Bitches who live by the Oxmoor Mall. I can't explain that one, it just makes sense. People who live in Jeffersontown. That one also makes sense. Forecastle. Need I say more? The Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby. The teenage to young adult boys who think they can drive a truck but can't. Yes, you know who you are. The people whose only personality trait is that they like to fish. Again, you know who you are. People who have a season pass to the Louisville Zoo. Anybody associated with Bellarmine University. And last but not least, the Kentucky Science Center, because it just makes sense. You can't change my mind.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
All right, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Call her daddy. No explanation needed. Call her daddy is a cult. 100%.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
Look, there were 5 holes in the fence. You literally cannot look at this picture and tell me there are not 5 holes in that fence. 'Cause there are. Just because it didn't mean anything doesn't mean there aren't 5 holes in the fence.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
I'm a confirmed Catholic, so I can definitely say that the Catholic Church is a cult. They're like, no, we're not, bitch. We're literally singing the Our Father together, and we don't even need a cue in. Like, yeah, we are one. Also, the Pledge of Allegiance, and Trisha Paytas stance.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one?
Dogecoin. Let's be clear. Dogecoin was started in 2013 as a joke between 2 friends. Dogecoin is literally born out of a meme, and the rise in price can largely be attributed to social media, whether that's Snoop Dogg and Elon Musk tweeting about it, or TikTokers trying to pump the price to $1, or it becoming a hot topic in Reddit threads. So now you're wondering, should I invest? Well, you know that TikTok trend where it's like, I'm picking up really sketch vibes? Does this not remind you of what happened in GameStop? While I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for Dogecoin to see some more upwards price movement, especially if Jeff Bezos gives his backing, I also think that a lot of folks who got in early are going to want to eventually take profit, meaning people who got in later into the coin are going to be left holding the bag. AKA, if you got in early, happy. But if you got in late, sad. I'm not investing in Dogecoin, but if you choose to do so, please be careful because when this thing comes down, it'll fall like a knife.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
The people who believe zodiac signs and crystals control their lives. Never have I ever felt more threatened in my life than when in a room with those people.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
Mexicans. Whenever Payaso de Rodeo starts to play, have you seen the choreography? They all like synchronize.
What's something that's not a cult but borderline seems like one? Or it could be if it wanted to.
A couple days ago, Adam told me that Ohio sounds like a cult. So for context, he lives in Ontario. I live in Ohio. And I was telling him about how, like, the fight song for Ohio State University is Hang On Sloopy. Except we added our own little twist. So, like, they'll play the song and it'll be like, hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. And then we go, O-H-I-O, hang. And he said that that's kind of culty. Another one is we have like this call and response thing. So if you're anywhere in the world that's like got a lot of tourists and stuff, and you just scream, O-H, somebody from Ohio will scream back, I-O. That's a pretty common one too. I guess I live in a cult.